Behold, my glorious supporter, isn't that right? Asks me to Helminth myself. Isn't that right? Asks, what would you use if you, Zandy the Pants, YouTuber, could enter the Helminth chair and infuse any of the abilities the Helminth can give into yourself? Your fellow Parley certified patron, Free William, commented on this and asked if Helminth innate abilities are allowed, and you said yes. My question is, are augments allowed? Because I just got finished recording a 50-minute parlay about augment mods for iPatch Notes, and yeah, that would change things a bit. Let's say augments are not allowed. I like to do this kind of question with little preparation because it would be very short if I spent like 15 minutes off camera thinking about it, and then I just told you the answer and why it would be fun. But this may be a short one because I feel like there are a few abilities that it's just like, come on. Yeah, you know? So I'm going to do this a little similarly. One time somebody asked me what stand I would want from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or something very similar to that. And I remember sort of analyzing them based on like some of them it's just like, okay, this is overpowered. But then there are other ones where it's such a good quality of life. It's like part of me wants to say Baruch Lull because you could help put people to sleep. Like I'm sure that my girlfriend would appreciate that. She would be able to get some more rest more easily. If you were having a bad time, you could like help people out. Could be useful for therapy. I could change careers into something I don't want to do for a career. No offense if you're a therapist, I'm sure you do great work. It's just not what I want to do. But it would be a useful ability. You could like neutralize muggers if you were in a back alley by putting them to sleep. I don't know. So you could do that for a bunch of abilities. But no, I mean, I think that there's a pretty clear choice here. It's gotta be infested mobility, baby. Drift frame in real life? Hell yes. I can't believe you even bothered to ask this question. I had you fooled the whole time. There are no augments for the Helminth abilities. It's obviously infested mobility. You get parkour velocity. You could like jump onto the roof of your apartment building. Hypothetically, I'm totally not gonna try to do that, but yeah, you get to run faster. It's a good speed, but dude, how could it be anything else? It's clearly infested mobility. Like, in fact, overall, I think the Helminth abilities are like basically all the best choices. So let's go through a few of them. So another one is the companion thing, Master's Summons. So this lets you doctor your pets, right? Like my cats are not, I mean, Mori is in great health, but Callie and Roki are having little minor health problems. Does Master's Summons, the thing that teleports your pet to you and fully heals it, does that mean that they are like better? Because if so, that's pretty good. Or like I'm just out in the world and I want to see my cat. Like bam, like my fully grown Mancoon is just suddenly there. Like that's cool. I'm not sure how Roki would feel about that actually, but anyway, you know, with consent, right? Yeah, how about it can do consent? Sure. Anyway, so that's cool. There are other stuff, other things like expedite suffering. Does this just kill people? Like, you know, we're all dying. We're all in the midst of dying. Video game characters are just sort of exist in the ether, but we are all in the process of dying. Does expedite suffering mean you just go boom in a cone in front of you and everything just dies? That I don't know if I want that, because if I say that I want that, then I will get in trouble with my audience who will think I'm an immoral scoundrel. But yeah, that's powerful. Like, that seems fairly good. Or like marked for death. Like, just saying, like, yikes. You know, there are a few other cool ones that basically correlate to superpowers, like roar. Like, is that not just strength? Like, I feel like damage is strength. Void from Zaku's Zada's Whisper ability. I don't know, like maybe bullet attractors around people could be fun, but it's got to be infested mobility. Come on, what are the top 5 things I would do with infested mobility? Yeah, like run to the store for sure. I guess you would have to hide, but it'd be fine. It'd be fine. People would just think that you were doing parkour. You just slow down whenever people look over. I'll get back to that in a second. Actually, there's another detail there. And then the jumping thing. It's really the jumping thing. Like, especially for just Imagine just being in the woods, like you go for a hike or whatever, and you have this ability, and you have more parkour velocity. Like you can jump on top of boulders and just look around. You can jump from tree to tree. You can do the whole hike like you're in a Naruto anime episode and you're hopping between the trees like they do. Yeah, that would be fun. Come on, it had to be that. For goodness sake, get out of here. It wasn't going to be anything other than, I mean, okay, like Saren Molt. All right. Okay, Saren Molt. Like being a snake would be cool. Shedding your skin sounds rad. Maybe it would help with acne. That's as I look at it in the viewfinder. But come on. Also, there's a question here about whether we get power mods. Like, can I mod for strength? Does that just mean working out? How does that work? Anyway, range? How do you mod for range? I guess you can't mod for range. Well, these speed abilities, it doesn't matter, right? Well, the clone explodes from Molt. Okay, anyway, whatever. But Molt doesn't give you parkour velocity, which is like part of the best part. The last thing I want to say about infested mobility and Molt as well is there's kind of a thing about like speed and strength superpowers that I don't see explored a lot, that fascinates me a lot. I tried to write something about this when I was in college, but I didn't really go anywhere. But I still think it's an interesting idea. And it's the idea that like when you have super speed, which is basically what infested mobility is, we can jump higher too. Super legs, let's just say. You might interpret it as like your top speed increases, but what I think is kind of interesting is to consider that it's like your relative speed increases. So it's that my current top speed, so if I run with all my strength as fast as I can, I go a certain speed. Let's just call that 10. And then infested mobility makes that speed, if I use all my energy, the speed I achieve is now 15 or 25 instead, which means if I run at a 5, that's like, a jog, right? A 1 is like walking very slowly and a 0 is sitting down. And then a 5 is like my speed at a jog. If my max speed goes up to 25, then how relatively fast I'll be going when I'm doing what would be a 5 for me now, I'm going to be going at like a 12.5 if my max speed is like 25. So now with very little effort, I can run at what would be a normal speed for me to max out at, right? So what before took all my energy to sprint as fast as I could, and that was a 10, now I can do a 12.5 without it feeling like anything. I'm just walking along, but it's actually me sprinting at full speed. That could mean that you can run to the supermarket and it will look to other people like you are all out sprinting at a human speed, but like it was taking a lot of effort. But for you, because you have infested mobility like me, you are actually not using much energy at all. You would be using a lot if you did your top speed, but that would look inhuman to people and you would get arrested / turned into a lab rat. One of the keys to a superpower being useful in the real world, or any ability being useful in the real world, if we assume that not everybody else has them, is how useful they can be incognito. If you get caught, then that's a problem. I do think super speed is good in that if you are pursued, you can run away, but you're never going to sleep soundly again. So realistically, you need to do it in a way where you're not going to get caught for doing it that way. And if you run to the store every day, I mean, really sprint, but it's not like anything's going to happen to you. Like it looks like you're on a jog, it's not going to be a big deal. And so overall, I think that's pretty solid. Other things, like, does energy mean how much calorie energy you need to burn to use the ability? Because infested mobility has a pretty short duration. Does this mean I need to eat like a pork roast every time I want to run fast? So that's a concern. Overall, though, come on, it's got to be infested mobility.